Lincoln. Lincoln's family was very poor, so he helped out by doing the household chores during the day and reading books at night. He was so honest and diligent that people in the village always complimented him. When he grew a bit older, Lincoln started working at a factory. One day, the factory's owner said to him,
"Lincoln, I know you've been working very hard. As a reward, I'm going to put you in a higher position."
But Lincoln said,
"Rather than being in a high position, I'd like to learn more skills." "That's admirable. You're going to become a great man."
A few years later, he happened to see what goes on at the slave market. White people were buying and selling black people who were tied up. Lincoln thought to himself,
"I don't believe it. How can they sell people like livestock? Black people are also human beings. I should become a politician and free the slaves."
When Lincoln turned 25, he was elected as an assemblyman. Also, he became a lawyer and helped the poor people who were falsely accused. People praised him, saying,
"Lincoln is a very honest and great politician. He's going to change the world."
Later, Lincoln was elected into the United States Congress and ran for presidency.
"Everyone is free and equal. We must free the slaves because black people should live freely like white people."
He became the 16th President of the United States. At the time, there were many black slaves in the United States, especially in the southern states, where black slaves were needed to work on the cotton plantations. So Southerners didn't like what Lincoln was trying to do.
"If there aren't any black slaves, who's going to do all the work? Let's create a new country among ourselves."
The southern states joined and formed a new country called Confederate States and waged war against the northern states. Lincoln thought,
"Why must the citizens of the same country fight against one another? But this must continue so that we can have equality and freedom for all."
In 1863, 2 years after the Civil War had begun, Lincoln finally declared the Emancipation Proclamation.
"All the slaves are now free."
Hooray, President Lincoln!
No more slaves!
This was the day when the Army of the Northern States, which included black soldiers, won the Battle of Gettysburg. Lincoln gave his speech to remind people of the sacrifices that had been made.
"We should never forget the people who sacrificed their lives in the name of freedom. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, will not perish from the earth."
This speech raised the morale of the Northern Army, who won every battle afterwards. At last, the Civil War that lasted for 4 years came to an end, with the Northern Army victorious.
"Our victory of the Civil War is a victory for democracy, equality, and freedom for all."
Sadly, in just 6 days after the war ended, Lincoln was assassinated by a Southerner. Many people mourned his death. Lincoln passed away too soon, at the age of 56. but he instilled the spirit of freedom and equality in everyone's heart.